Hello and welcome back to the Rafferty-Mills Connection. Now, my next guest is quite possibly one of the finest British actors of the past several years. Most well known for his roles in two of Quentin Tarantino's most famous films, Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction, Tim Roth has added the role of the arch-nemesis, the abomination of the Incredible Hulk to his ever-growing resume amongst other projects. It is my honour and privilege to welcome my guest, Mr. Tim Roth. Tim, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Good.
It's really, really great to talk to you, by the way. So thank you for taking the time out to do this interview with me.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Now, you're currently starring in the new Fox series Lie to Me, which is about Dr. Cal Lightman, who's a deception expert who observes body language and then cooperates with law enforcement with the help of researchers and psychologists. Now, I was wondering, this is notably a great departure from some of the work that you've done in the past, considering that the majority of your work is in film. What made you choose the project, and have you enjoyed it so far?
It's the weirdest experiment I've ever done. It's completely bizarre. They've come at me a few times to do something like this, to do a television thing. I've always passed on it, because I just was pursuing sort of odd in other kind of regions, with film. And then it was, I suppose it's the last sort of chunk of my two young boys' kind of childhoods right now. And I was spending more and more time traveling with film. And so when they came at me this time with it, it felt like it was the right time to do it, just because I can work now and then I go home after work. Is the idea. So that was just the notion of doing that was appealing to me. And then, the character, it's a fun thing. It's like he's an odd character, and it's based on a real guy who floats around the set occasionally, and who developed this kind of, I suppose he put a book together of the facial coding system, which is now used by all kinds of organizations, from investigation kind of stuff with the CIA and then through to private individuals who need, for some reason, to know this kind of behavior. So it's an odd and peculiar thing to do. I think it's like being in a commercial that's running on stage for, in the West End for a very long time. It's a bizarre thing. Very, very odd. Kind of fun and kind of not, depending on what day it is and what you're doing and who you're working with. But it's a completely different thing from anything I've done, so that does make it interesting,
No, I mean, I actually managed to catch some of the episodes that are airing on Fox. You were saying it was based on Dr. Paul Ekman, who is a known psychologist that does these things. Now, whilst performing the role, did you try and imitate him in terms of his personality and social skills?
No, I didn't. No, he kind of freaks me out. Because it really is like traveling with a critic, because he is the most gentle and relaxed fella. He always, because you get very self-conscious when you're around these people because they're just reading you constantly. But when he was watching me play him, or not play him, but play this guy, and he said you have to remember that everyone else is on stage when they're around you, but you're not at all. You shouldn't be worried. You don't have to be worried about how you move, what your face is doing, anything. You're just watching them, So that kind of helps you relax. But I find it quite intimidating when he's around. But there's nothing really intimidating about the man himself. It's an odd thing.
Well, when you were actually playing the role, was it like your interpretation of how you believe he should be played? Or was there anything that you looked at the character and thought, in terms of characteristics, or this is what I should add to the character?
No, you kind of, again, because it's like experimental theatre, kind of bizarre, just in the nature of doing episodic television. You kind of have to make these, you have to, when you're building the character, you're worried or wondering if it's going to have what you put into the character at that moment in your initial kind of leaps with it will have longevity, will actually still remain interesting for an audience, possibly a couple of years down the line. So it wasn't so much playing him, really. It was just trying to put together a character that an audience might find sort of fun and curious and intriguing. But 22 episodes later, it's an odd notion, really. I don't think it has that much to do with acting, working on television in this kind of way. to be honest.
I think one of the most unique things about the show is the relationships with his daughter Emily, and then he's got somewhat of a rivalry with Rhea Torres. Is that explored later on in the episodes? Because I know they've had 3 so far. And
Oh yeah. I mean, it develops. I mean, I think that as we kind of push through now, they're getting better. The episodes are getting. The science will hopefully, because I found it to be a little too obvious myself the way they were carrying it together and all that, you know. But I mean, it becomes a little bit more character driven, with sort of fun stories for the audience to kind of be a part of. But yeah, the character stuff expands, and I think there'll be more characters kind of arriving on the scene, and you know, if we stick around, if they pick it up, it will have broader landscapes and stuff.
Well, that was about to be my next question. Do you know if they're going to pick it up for a second season?
No, I have no idea. They don't tell you. The way it works, it seems to me, I know that they ordered 13 episodes, including the pilot, but they could stop you at any minute. And then I think in May, we finished filming we wrapped the first season, which is 13 episodes, it's about half season, in April. And then we get told, I think basically in May, all right, you're on or you're off. And it's extraordinary the amount of money they put into this kind of stuff. And but they'll just say, nah, moving on. And the posters will still be up, and you'll be looking for a job.
Well, it's a great series. I really hope it does actually continue, because I've been really getting into it myself. So
yeah, I think it is a laugh. I mean, you can have fun with it, you know. And we do, and the subject matter can be quite tough at times. So they're taking on sort of, you know, more and more difficult subjects as well. So I think it's got legs myself, but I don't really know what they base their ideas on, the network and all that stuff, and whether they think something's going to fly or not. I don't know. It's weird.
Now, I mean, besides Lie to Me, I don't know if you're still currently filming this, but King Conqueror, you still filming that, or is that wrapped?
No, that was a little thing that I did. These guys are trying to get their film off the ground, and it often happens where they'll do almost a trailer or a scene from the movie to raise their money. So I just went off and worked on that for, I think, a few days, actually, in Spain. So, no, the only thing that I've got coming out film-wise, I'm trying to think. I think it's the only thing. I don't know what you've got over there. It's Skellig. I did a little film of the kids' book because my boys had read it and they loved it. And they said, do it. So I did it. So it's not that out. And that, I don't know when that comes out. I think it's on TV over there, but it's cinema the rest of the world.
I think it's coming out on Sky One at some point.
Yeah, it's part of they're trying to do a kind of movies for TV thing. That was fun too, because I got to work with great actors and play a very strange and interesting character. So I
was going to ask about that. Is it a story? Is it a part human, part owl, and it's about a little boy that looks after this creature?
Yeah, and and what is he? And but it was John Sim and Kelly MacDonald and this lovely little boy was playing the sort of lead in it. And no, it was very, very good. Very, very good. Fun to do.
Now, just moving away from some of your current projects, you're well known for your roles in 2 of Quentin Tarantino's most famous films, Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Now, Quentin's recently filmed Inglourious Bastards, if I've pronounced that right.
Oh, I know, yeah.
And a lot of rumours spread about your possible participation in the movie, but it really never came to be. Were there ever talks between you and Quentin of being in the film itself?
Oh, God, yeah, I was supposed to do it. I was going to do it. And, but yeah, I was on. And we've been talking about this for years. I think even before Pulp Fiction we talked about this movie, Inglourious Basterds. He just wanted to do a men on a mission movie in Second World War. He always wanted to do it. It was just such a fun idea. It's a great script, by the way. And it's a shame I couldn't do it because of the schedule. It was a conflict, and he needed the actor who's playing that role to be available to him because of the other actors' schedules. So that was the scenes that this guy was going to be in could float around on the schedule, and so he needed me for a lot longer than I was available to work for him. So it didn't work out, which was a real shame. And but I'm sure whoever got it, it's a very difficult role to play, but a lot of fun. It's a great role.